Hi, welcome to the Online Jewelry Academy. I'm Professor John R. and I'm your instructor. In this video, I'm going to be discussing all of the items that are on my bench. No, the house next door didn't burn down and I didn't go picking through the rubble. These ugly things are workhorses of your jeweler's bench. In fact, these are the items that you solder on top of. Now, I'm going to go through each of these items to tell you what they're good for and what they're not so good for, and how they pair with your torch. The idea is I want to give you the information you need to improve your craft and save some money. The more money you save, the more money that you keep in your pocket. Okay, let's talk about what's not here, because there are a couple of things that I just eliminated that you don't need to really concern yourself with. The first one is aluminum oxide blocks. Aluminum oxide blocks cost upwards of $90 and they're used for welding platinum pieces. Unless you're working with platinum, you don't need to worry about having one of those. It's overkill. The other thing that I've eliminated are vermiculite blocks. I personally just don't like them. They're crumbly in terms of if you drop them, they're going to break, if you bang them too hard, and sometimes they even retain heat and they're a little too warm for me. So I just got rid of them. But vermiculite blocks are a good soldering surface for many beginners because they're adaptable to all types of heat. You could use a large torch or a small torch. They're highly insulating and highly reflective. They also can be shaped well and they're cheap. And what more do you want than that? But let me show you some other blocks that I think might actually serve your purposes a little better. Okay, the first thing that we have over here is charcoal. There are two types of charcoal blocks. There's soft charcoal, and then there's a hardened compressed charcoal. They're made from the same material. It's natural wood material that's charcoalized, except this one, it's been compressed. Now, when you look at these things, you'll notice that the soft blocks, there's a consistent, even wood grain to them. There are no knots from any tree in them. And that's to prevent them from having any hot spots that would just cause them to instantly snap apart when you apply heat to them. Now, charcoal in general is a great surface to work with because when you're working with silver, you want to avoid oxidation. Well, when you heat on top of a charcoal surface, the nature of the material, when it combusts, when the heat's applied, it starts to create a reduction environment, one that's robbed of oxygen. And that just means that you're not going to have oxidation land on your piece and grow. This will help to keep your work nice and clean. Now, there are some things that you need to know about the two different types of blocks. First of all, let's talk about the soft block. Now, what's bad about the soft block? Well, it does combust very quickly and the surface will quickly erode, as you can see on this piece right here. And the other thing about it is that once these pieces get a little bit burnt and eroded, they break really easily. So that can be a problem. But when you first get your block, you can avoid breakage by running a piece of binding wire around the exterior of the block. Now, I've left the little ends of the wire here so you could see it, but be sure that you clip that and turn it around so that you don't poke yourself every time that you pick up this block. Now, what's really cool about these blocks is that they will accept these steel T-pins. Now, steel T-pins are great because you can use them to support material or help to anchor something at a particular angle, and they're available at most hardware supply stores and wig stores. Now, the other thing that the soft charcoal block is great for is that it's easily shaped and carved into. So if you needed to make a special shape to your block in order to solder something exactly in place, you could do that with this block. And the other thing too, we've gotten a lot of emails from people that have asked us about casting ingots. Well, you could use this to cast a simple ingot. All you'd have to do is just carve out an indentation that's shaped like an ingot into your soft block, and you could melt scrap in there without a problem. You could also create an indentation and cut a channel so that you could melt scrap and do some direct casting on your bench top. You could make like water droplet castings, and we have a video on that. Now, the hardened charcoal block is most preferable because it's going to last longer. You could wire around the outside of it too, but it's really not necessary. But what I like about this block is that it works great with all types of torches, and it's easily resurfaced underwater with sandpaper. And we have a video on that as well. Now, let's move over to the Solderite block. The Solderite block is a great block for beginners. And if you're using a small butane torch like I do in most of the demonstrations on OJA, this torch will not damage this block very easily. But if you're using a larger torch, the surface of the Solderite block might start to get pitted because it can only withstand temperatures of about 1700 degrees. But not to worry. You can easily resurface this block as well, just using sandpaper under a little bit of water and just leave it to dry, and it's good to go again. You can lay work out flat on this. You can easily drill or cut or do anything you need to shape this as well. So this is a very inexpensive way for most beginners to start working on their benchtop with soldering. And also, they did name it Solderite, so it's a good choice for a beginning student. Now, let's move on to Honeycomb Ceramic. Now, this is a very interesting material. It too will accept T-pins. They fit right into the holes of the honeycomb. And so you can be clever and figure out ways to support work on top of this. Also, this too is a very good work surface, but it's better for bigger pieces and a hotter torch. It will help to displace or disperse heat very quickly so that you don't overheat a piece. And like I said, it is a little bit stronger and a little bit more durable and will work great with a larger torch. So you notice the top is really jagged and broken. Well, that indicates how brittle this material is, but it won't break the skull of a disobedient student. Now, the next item that I have is something that is great for any beginner. This is a kiln brick or fire brick. These are used to line the interior of electric kilns. They're really easy to cut and shape. You'll notice that I've got a step shape on the front. So you can cut this into shapes that will help to support the style of your work as you assemble it. But what's really good about this is that this material, it will reflect and dissipate heat, and it will help a beginner to avoid overheating and melting their work. So if you're just starting to develop your skills in this craft, I would recommend that you might want to go to a ceramic supply store and purchase a ceramic kiln brick for yourself. Now, the next item that I have is a Magnesia block. I like the Magnesia block quite a bit. It's very much like working with charcoal. It is reflective and it's kind of soft, so I can actually utilize a T-pin to create a support, or I could cut into it. What's great about it though is that if I'm making an intricate basket setting for a stone, I can actually push the wires into it in order to hold them in place as I solder the piece together. But here's a little tip. The steel of the T-pin is going to be stronger than your silver or your gold wire. So you may want to make the hole that the wire goes into first with the T-pin. Because sometimes if you jab a silver wire, say, into the Magnesia block, it may bend or kink. The other thing that I would want to tell you is this block does give off slightly noxious fumes while you're working with it. So you want to work under good ventilation, and you may even want to wear a mask when you work with this one. Now, the surface of the block will sort of erode and pull back with heat, but you can resurface this block. You can take a file or sandpaper to it and put a flat surface back to it. Remember, with any of these surfaces that you solder on, you need to protect your bench top. The way I do it is I use this. This is a piece of ceramic Kiln Shelf. It's a good material that will deflect the heat from the wood of the bench top, and I've put a Lazy Susan on the back of it that will allow me to turn my work as I'm working with the torch, and we have a video on that as well. Now you would place that down on your workbench, and then you put your material that you're going to solder with on top of it, but not that one. I've gotten a lot of comments on videos asking if charcoal briquettes were a good surface to work on for soldering. The answer is no, but you can cook your meal on it. I hope you liked this video. I hope it helps you to select the right surface to solder on that's going to save you money and help you to work efficiently. If you liked this video, there are many more like it on the onlinejewelryacademy.com. You can find the complete playlist on the website organized by category. You can also find the playlist here on YouTube. And if you become a subscriber, you'll get regular notifications of weekly releases. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you'd like to support the production of future videos, you can sponsor us through Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com/onlinejewelryacademy. Thanks for watching. I can do it again. It's okay. Okay, it's okay. Hang on.
It was just because I wanted to see you in the wig.
Okay, all right. So the steel T-pins are readily available at most hardware stores, and you can always get them at a wig shop. And also, they named it Solderite. Whoop, shit. Wait a minute. Let me put it right back where it was. Okay, ready? Mm-hmm.